baby. I ain't gonna lie, that's the white side in me. Hopefully no one's live, but if you guys are watching this post-stream, not gonna be a good look. It's gonna be a good look for me, but hope you guys are doing good today. I know it's Thursday, I know it's Friday, or Wednesday night. No, it's Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, so I know if people aren't watching, it's all good. I just wanted to, you know, get a stream for you guys. I haven't streamed in a while. We're gonna go over the Stephen A stuff, because this is what we're gonna talk about first. And we're gonna make a video about that, and then we're gonna talk about the Gonzaga boys, as I do have a lot of Gonzaga friends, so it's like, why not talk about them? And we're going to talk about Duke as well, because I think it's going to be a great matchup on Friday. Duke versus Gonzaga. I think it's going to be a very fun matchup. But we're just going to wait a little bit of time before we get started. Slide way on over, slide your way on over. Get to know ya. Hey, this Silk Sonic album is really nice, man. I don't know if you guys are a big fan of, I'm not sure if you guys are a big fan of Bruno Mars and Pac Anderson, but man, this album is, it's giving me the old school vibes, man. This is like something I love to listen to on my way to work. I know a lot of people, you know, hey, this is some great music, man. I just love that old school vibe that the album gives. So we're just gonna wait like maybe another minute and then we'll get started. And then we'll listen to a little bit of Blast Off. I know this is gonna wait a little bit before we get going. "777" is also another good song as well. But we're gonna wait a little bit before we get started. Hopefully everyone, like I said, is enjoying their pre-Thanksgiving Eve. I don't know if you guys are getting stuff ready or not, but if you are, let me know if you are. And again, we're just gonna wait like maybe another minute, or we're probably gonna wait till the 5-minute mark, just so people that, you know, want to come in and, you know, check in, and you know, it's up to them. But again, we're going to talk about two topics for sure, guys. We're going to talk about the Stephen A garbage that I've been seeing from his mouth. And then we're going to talk about Paolo Banchero and Chet Holmgren, man. I am so excited for that matchup. I missed the UCLA Gonzaga, and it looks like they didn't really miss too much because of the way Gonzaga played. But I'm looking forward to this, man. It's going to be I think it's going to be fun, man. But I'm going to see if maybe a guest can come on tonight. But I need to double check on that. Let me check to see if this guest is ready. Ooh. Don't look like it. We're gonna, let's see how long the song is. Nah, we can't wait the whole song. But as we kind of fade the song away, there's gonna be a manual fade. There we go. Hopefully you guys are having a pretty good Thanksgiving Eve. I hope everything is well with you and your families or your loved ones or whatever you decide to do to celebrate. your Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving Eve, and your Thanksgiving Day. Hopefully, you guys, if you're working, hopefully you guys can kind of make it through the day. I'll see if I can stream. I'm looking forward to maybe streaming at night, maybe again, or if not, definitely a video. We're gonna put something out for you guys. So if you are working that day, or if something's going on, you're gonna have something to kind of vibe with. Whether it is a charged retro video, but I'm gonna make sure that's a new one, guys, because I know that the retro videos, they're old and they obviously don't match up with the times. So that is why we're streaming now. So without further ado, hopefully you guys are enjoying, like I said, your pre-Thanksgiving Eve. And to start off today, guys, we're going to talk about a couple topics. Obviously, the first one being the Stephen A. Smith, LeBron has never been feared. Trying to say that like Michael Jordan was feared around the league and no one would ever touch him, but we all know that's full of crap. I know a lot of people like Kwame Brown talked about it. I know a lot of people in the media. I know JJ Redick stood up. I'm not the biggest JJ Redick fan, but in terms of like, the guy that he was at Duke, he kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But again, I think he was spot on with what he said. And so, I kind of wanted to talk about this as well, because I think like looking at this whole thing, it frustrates me. And then of course we're going to talk about Chet Holmgren and Paolo Banchero, Duke versus Gonzaga on Friday. We're going to just do a little preview, look at Banchero's game versus Citadel, and look at Chet Holmgren versus UCLA. And again, stats, they're oohs and ahs, but there's a lot of things that these guys do that doesn't really show up on the box score sometimes. So, without further ado, let us get right into the story. So our first story of the day, of course, is going to be the Stephen A. Smith story. And I kind of want to play this video first for everybody watching now or watching the pre-recorded video that I'm going to probably segment in. This is going to be the first video that we're going to talk about. Again, Stephen A. Smith on Isaiah Stewart, and this is what's going to be going on. So let's listen in on what Stephen A. had to say.
In all the years that I've covered the league, we talk about the Jordans of the world, the Kobes of the world, and people like that. And you saw LeBron when he first came into the league. You saw when they went to the finals. You saw when they was feigning, taking pictures and playing around and being jovial and all of that other stuff. LeBron James is too phenomenal and too great not to be incredibly respected. But in my estimation, from the people that I've spoken to covering the league, he's never been feared. LeBron is not somebody that instills fear in you. Of course, you got a game plan for him, and you know that his Herculean talents and what have you, and what he brings to the table, he's impossible to stop. He's one of the top 2-3 players in the history of basketball. You know all of those things. But a lot of times when we think about MJ, for example, and obviously he's the one person that draws those comparisons, what ultimately comes up short is the level of fear that was instilled in you. You didn't mess with MJ. You didn't come at MJ like that. You didn't do stuff like that. People, and I'm not talking about Isaiah Stewart, I'm just talking about period in terms of opponents and how they come at you. You believe that you wondered what you was going to do about this. With LeBron, you believe you can take him. You believe he can be had, whether it's because of the teammates around him, the system he's playing in, the people that, whatever skill set you bring to the table, et cetera, et cetera. You just view him differently. And throughout the years in covering the league, those are all the things that I've consistently heard. Now, obviously, he would refute that. There's players that would refute that who have been supportive of him. Rich Paul and Maverick Carter definitely would refute that because I've spoken to them about it in the past. But again, he is profoundly respected. This is not an issue about respect for LeBron. I'm talking fear factor. Fear factor. That's just not something that has ever been associated with him.
All right, so you heard the video, you heard what Stephen A. had to say. Of course, Stephen A.'s classic line is my sources, right? So, the reason why I kind of titled this is like, this is laughable, this is clownish. Like, the reason why I kind of go at Stephen A. Smith sometimes for this stuff is because I feel like some of the stories that he kind of says are sources, I can't believe them. Like, he's wrong way too many times for me to like know that his source is even credible at this point. And to me, that's what frustrates me the most, because we've seen videos of players and many other like people around the league go at Michael Jordan back in the 90s. Just because it wasn't publicized as much doesn't mean that stuff didn't happen. And I feel like looking at this whole situation from a, kind of a glass outside of the NBA realm, obviously I'm not in there with the players, I'm not in there with the coaching staff. One day I hope to be as a coaching staff, but besides the point of that, my frustration kind of goes with this whole thing is that, like, I don't think Stephen A. Smith is in the right to talk about guys that are in this sort of situation. I just feel like the way that he's kind of going at it, um, to me, what I would find frustrating about it is it's just the fact that like I think he's full of it. Like I don't think he's really accurate. I don't really think he is someone that's like really, really into it as much as like I guess what I'm trying to say, without kind of like flubbing up my words, which is currently what I'm doing right now. Um, I really don't think Stephen A. Smith has accurate reporting. I think that this is more of an opinion piece because if you really look at it back in the day, Michael Jordan was someone that a lot of people didn't fear. They went at him. Like I remember those photos of like the bad boy Pistons going at Michael Jordan. It wasn't like Michael Jordan was like feared. He wasn't like for obviously I'm a religious man, but a god, right? A godlike figure. And to me, like when I look at that, I don't think that was accurate at all. Like I know that The Last Dance and all these interviews and documentaries about Michael Jordan make it seem like he was this grand old like bigger than life type of character, but really everyone went at him just as much as LeBron James did. It's kind of funny because we talk about like how it's like, oh, LeBron James isn't respected, and it's kind of like the same disrespect that I feel like LeBron James gets each and every year. You can criticize LeBron James about a lot of things, but I feel like this is just not one of them. Like this is to me is like a situation where again it goes back to the arguments that a lot of people made in the past. Oh, LeBron went to the East; it was a lot easier. And you're seeing all those stuff. The first player, once he went to the Miami Heat, like people were burning his jerseys, all this other crazy stuff that was going on around the league. It's funny that we kind of forget about that. And it just seems like LeBron James just gets the blunt of the force when it comes to that type of critique, that type of rhetoric. And I just don't think that that's fair at all for a guy like LeBron James, who we know is not getting respected. Like I feel like he's not. I feel like he doesn't get enough respect in the media. Like the media, whether it's Stephen A. Smith or whether it's Skip Bayless, those guys will continuously always go after LeBron James for whatever reason. Like it just seems like there's an agenda, and it just seems like they've made a career. I think Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless for sure has made a career off LeBron James, whereas Stephen A. Smith I feel like made a career off of making fun of like guys like Kwame Brown and who else did he make fun of? He makes fun of a lot of the athletes. It's kind of interesting to me that he doesn't really make fun of the white athletes as much, which is, it kind of says a lot to me. Obviously, we can go in a lot of different directions with that, but I agree with Kwame Brown on that aspect of it. It's like, I don't see any criticism for like Tim Tebow, like the way that, or, a Tim Tebow or, a John, maybe Johnny Manziel is a bad example. Like I think like a Baker Mayfield or any of these other athletes, like there's no catchphrases that you can signify with those guys. Whereas like, Kwame Brown, it's he's a bust, a bona fide scrub, all this other stuff like that Stephen A. Smith did. And what I kind of find frustrating about that, again, I just don't feel like Stephen A. like is the type of guy that you can be like, yeah, I kind of respect his reporting. I can respect what he does as an analyst or someone that is in the media. It just seems like his sources are always bunk. They're funk, and they're just like, and they're full of gunk. Like, and it just to me when I see the sources that the quote unquote sources that Stephen A. Smith continuously and harmoniously says each and every time, I just don't know if I can believe that Stephen A. Smith, is telling the truth. And it's like these new. It's like the new age media. It's like no one's really accurately and reporting things the right way. Whenever I see someone familiar with the source, or if I see, Stephen A. Smith sources, I always, have a cause for pause when it comes to any reporting, because it's like, I'm not saying you got to reveal your sources, but you need to use better wording or, kind of phrase it. And again, the reason why I titled this narrative is because I feel like Stephen A. Smith is trying to make a narrative about this whole situation to get Undisputed or so I guess he's on First Take, Undisputed for Skip Bayless and First Take for Stephen A. Smith. I feel like they're trying to again kind of form this narrative that LeBron James isn't again better than Michael Jordan. It seems like both these companies, whether it's Fox or ESPN, continuously do the exact same thing each and every time that it comes to a story. No, I did not talk about him yet, Sean. We're actually going to talk about him next. I just kind of want to talk about this story first because I want to clown on Stephen A. Smith. But again, going back to it, it just seems like these guys are trying to form a narrative, create a story, and I get frustrated with that as someone who wants accurate reporting, as someone that wants to know the facts. I just feel like there's a lot of narrative spinning from Stephen A. Smith and from Skip Bayless. And I know, Sean, you have dealt with this before, that, whether it comes to the Seahawks or, whatever athlete that we like. I just feel like you always get that sort of situation when it comes to, I would say, this whole like LeBron James thing. And it's like these guys just can't talk about anybody else besides the Dallas Cowboys, LeBron James, and all these other guys. And the reason why is because they're always trying to find a narrative to find, right? It's a 24-hour news cycle type of entertainment, or, quote unquote entertainment. How entertaining is it talking about the same person over and over again? And it's kind of the reason why it's just kind of one of those things that, I just find frustrating as someone who wants to like have good, accurate reporting. I'm not going to go to Stephen A. Smith for like sources or reliable intel. Like I'm going to go to Shams. I'm going to go to Hayes, I believe from Yahoo. I can't remember his name. Woj, somewhat Woj. I think Shams is a little bit better. I'm Team Sham. I'm part of the Sham Wows instead of the Woj moms. But again, it's just one of those things you look at it, and again, these guys on these news talk shows obviously trying to form a narrative, try to create stuff that is just going to be so crappy. And Sean, I don't know if you're still here with me or if you're going to wait for the Paolo and Chet talk yet. But I think as someone who we talk with on the daily with you and my friends, I just think we kind of feel the same way about it, when it comes to guys like, Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. And I also wanted to read this part of the story too when it comes to this Isaiah Stewart sort of situation. So here it says, I am told LeBron James did try to track down Isaiah Stewart's phone number post-game to apologize to Stewart again to let him know it was an inadvertent hit to the face. And again, I think it was, at the end of the day, it wasn't like LeBron James was maliciously trying to, find his face and just absolutely like deck him with the elbow. I think that's just part of basketball. Again, I'm not sure how, they both, I think Isaiah Stewart's like 6'10", 6'11". Meanwhile, LeBron James is like 6'9". I'm not sure how that happens with the inverted elbow to the face, but it happened. And that's just the whole situation. Again, none of these guys are really going to fight each other. This isn't the 90s. This isn't the 80s anymore where people are actually front to front, like actually going to, whack elbows and like punch people in the face. Like I remember those Celtics, like Lakers rivalries where guys would actually like literally punch each other. And that to me was like, oh shoot, and I think the NBA wants to obviously the NBA wants to get rid of it. They obviously suspended LeBron James, and they suspended Isaiah Stewart for longer because they don't want that type of stuff in the game anymore. Like no one wants to see that. As much as like these guys want to act tough, and I know you got to protect like your quote unquote manhood on this stuff, I just don't think that it is, the right. I don't think it's right. I think like at the end of the day, you can use your words, you can kind of talk to each other. I know it's like heat of the moment. You got elbow in the face, you're pissed. I get that, but at the same time, you do have the ability to kind of talk it out. And I hope LeBron James actually went and talked to him as a man instead of doing the texting thing. Like I know that texting is like, yo man, I'm sorry I hit you in the face. It's easier to text and tell someone that you're sorry there than it is to do it face to face. So I hope that LeBron James did it face to face because I just think that's a lot better than doing it in a way where it's like, oh, I'm going to text you and do that stuff. But kind of going back again to the Stephen A. Smith part, again, I just don't trust anything that Stephen A. Smith says. It's one of those things where I think he is a proverbial narrative-driven person who continuously tries to create this like false narrative and tries to frame the stories in a way where LeBron James is the bad guy, or whatever athlete he doesn't like. The Cowboys, for example. I mean, I know the Cowboys are, it's funny to make fun of them, right? 90s, they haven't won since the 90s. It's funny. But again, I still think that Stephen A. Smith goes a little too far with guys like LeBron James, guys like Kwame Brown, and kind of tries to form this whole narrative and story where I just don't think that it's right. And again, with guys like Cuff the Legend, like I trust Cuffs more than I trust Stephen A. Smith. I know a lot of people don't know about Cuffs the Legend. He actually has a podcast, trying to shout him out. Want to give him a shout out because I think he's actually really good and an intelligent man. And I love listening to his podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. He's not paying me to do this promo, but I will shout him out because I do love listening to him. I love his content. I think he's a very knowledgeable man, and you can see it in the way that he talks about the game. Whereas like Stephen A. Smith, what does Stephen A. Smith know? Like, yeah, he was he played for Temple, I think, or something like that, or some sort of smaller college. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter where you play. It's not about like, oh, he played here. LeBron James plays in the NBA. Who's the real winner? It's more so like I think that there is just like narratives that Stephen A. Smith, and I just feel like he's kind of a con man when it comes to that stuff. And Stephen and Skip Bayless is the same way. Like as much as I enjoy Undisputed with Shannon Sharp, I think Shannon Sharp keeps it 100. I still feel the same way when it comes to a guy like Stephen A. Smith, where it's just like I don't know if I can trust anything that you say for your sources. Like, again, these shows are more opinion pieces, but it's funny to me that ESPN still tries to treat Stephen A. Smith as a beat writer, a reporter, an analyst. Like, he may have started out that way, but now we all know what he is. He's an opinion guy. He's going to say his opinion, and this is an opinion piece, in my opinion, where he tries to say that Stephen A. Smith says that, he's never been feared. Like, to me, like when I see that, when I see Stephen A. Smith kind of do that whole scenario, when I see him do this narrative-driven thing, I can't believe him. And again, it's just one of those things. I look at it and I hope that we can get some clarity, from players to kind of call out the BS that Stephen A. Smith seems to continuously spew out of his mouth. And, I think that it's a fair assessment to say, because I'm sure these players are tired. Again, the thing is like, if you go after Stephen A. Smith as a player, it's like, oh, well, why are you going after a little old reporter? It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, like, I'm going, I don't blame players that they went after him, because I feel like he's full of it. Like, I think Stephen A. Smith does. I don't think anybody messes with him like I think everyone thinks he does. I don't think anybody messes with him. Like, it's that simple when it comes to Stephen A. Smith. I just don't see a guy after a game going like, oh, Stephen A. Smith, what's up, man? Let's talk. Like, they're going to be cordial. They're going to be friendly. Like, JJ Redick obviously shut him down with the way that he talked about the whole situation. We can talk about, what he said. And it's just like, people respect the man. Like, and they fear him. Like, there's a reason why he went to like 9 straight finals. Stephen A. Smith gonna ban JJ from First Take after that call out. Hey man, it's gonna be the same thing that I saw that Jalen Rose, man. Jalen Rose never made it back to First Take after that Skip Bayless incident, man. Again, I think JJ Redick had the right to call him out. He's a player. Like, who's going to be a guy that you trust more? The guy that's played in the league with LeBron James for all these years? Or do you think it's going to be Stephen A. Smith, who hasn't probably been in a locker room or media thing? He only goes like once a year, and that's the NBA Finals. He doesn't go every night to like the Lakers games and being like, oh, LeBron, blah, 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 blah. No, he does this every time after the finals. Like, that's the only time I ever see him there. And then, he's the guy that like lurks around. Like, he's going to be the reporter that kind of lurks around, looking down all over here. All the players are kind of over there. He's just looking out. He's like, okay, what's going on over here? And he's going to like look, and then he's going to, maybe find like the ball boy or something like that. Hey man, what's going on over there? And the ball boy's going to be like, oh, they're just doing this, this, and this. And then Stephen A. Smith is going to go on ESPN, after the game, usually they do like a reporting thing with like Michael Wilbon and all that. And they're going to be like, well, according to my sources or what I'm seeing, from the locker room, the team talk, blah, 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 blah. Where I feel like, Stephen A. Smith didn't ask like a player, didn't ask a coach. I feel like he's just asking the ball boys and the security. Like, that's what I feel like it is. I don't feel like he's actually like reporting anything newsworthy. Again, I feel like everything that comes out of Stephen A. Smith's mouth is now opinion and never fact. And that's just the reality of Stephen A. Smith in 2021. Like, he's, you paid him $12 million to be a personality for ESPN. He didn't pay him $12 million to report, right? You can get anybody to do that reporting. Unfortunately, it's a very like boring job, right? Unless you're Shams, who breaking news on Twitter. Like, that's the only way that you're gonna do it. And Stephen A. Smith doesn't have that. Like, he's not he's not breaking stories. He's literally just getting things from Wojnarowski. He's getting things from Shams, and then reporting it, and then giving his opinion. Whereas, like, again, Shams and Woj are reporting the facts. And ESPN already pays Woj, so it's like, Stephen A, we're gonna pay you this $12 million a year to do the Stephen A. Smith World, show. That's obviously garbage. No one wants to pay for ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus, not to like kind of rag on ESPN a lot, but I just don't think ESPN Plus is really that worth it unless like you follow the smaller colleges and kind of want to watch their games. Like that's the only way that I ever see ESPN Plus being worth it. And because they paid Stephen A. Smith $12 million now to like do something with that sort of money and do something with that, trying to think of the right word, like do something with it. I just don't think that a lot of people are really falling for it. And then, Stephen A. Smith has to make outlandish remarks on his show. And that's where I feel like ESPN is at as a network right now. You have your factual reporting with Wojnarowski, you have him on The Jump and all that stuff. And then you have like the First Takes, the Stephen A. World, and all these other places to kind of do your classic like opinion piece where they're just like, oh, well, LeBron James is weak and, Michael Jordan would never do this or that. And basically it's just a rinse and repeat cycle with those guys. And again, we could go on and on. I could make another like 40 minutes about Stephen A. Smith just making up some random crap that he always does. But again, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of this whole situation with Stephen A. Smith basically lying? And again, this is more so a Stephen A. Smith story than it really is a LeBron James versus Isaiah Stewart story. Again, he's bleeding. I understand he's going to be frustrated. Tensions will flare. I'm not dumb and naive to think like, oh, Isaiah Stewart should have calmed down. But at the same time, don't make it seem like this is a narrative like, the guy, like, it's like the victim thing, right? It's like, oh, it's really dumb to me with the way that this is going. Like, Isaiah Stewart was the one that got elbowed in the face. Yet this is a LeBron James story. I mean, he's involved, obviously, but it's not about like, oh, should Isaiah Stewart, was it right for Isaiah Stewart to go after him? Was it, all this stuff? It's just like, this proves that LeBron James isn't feared. And it's like, I'm pretty sure he was feared. There's a reason why super teams had to be formed. There's a reason why there's a reason why Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson cried to Kevin Durant to come to Golden State and win 2 titles. If that's not being feared, I don't know what is. To team up with other superstars to finally form that super team and win some Mickey Mouse championships. Obviously, I'm joking with the Mickey Mouse championships. But again, kind of like if we're going with the narrative, right? It's like, it's funny to me that we'll value those rings more than anything else. But we'll see what happens, man. Again, like I said, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of the Stephen A. Smith story where he's just absolutely full of it and not telling the whole truth as it comes and pertains to, what's really going on around the league? Let me know in the comment section down below. Alrighty, everybody. Sean, I know this is the moment you've been waiting for. I know you can weigh in on this a little bit more than I can at the moment. I've been watching a little bit here and there. Haven't been watching all the games. Obviously, I've been watching more so the prime time and the first game that they played. But we have Gonzaga versus Duke coming up this Friday. 7:30 p.m. It is going to be a must-watch game. Obviously, this is going to be the whole situation that we're seeing here as it pertains to, hang on one second, I think Tar Heel Nation, you got here at Chong Service Chet looking like dominant last night. You guys watched the squad this year, even though I still think Mark Fu got a PTSD from the Baylor game last spring. Again, Tar Heel, you kind of lead to our next kind of topic. To me, it's like, give me your Gonzaga UCLA impression. Did you watch the highlights? I actually watched the whole game, Sean. I actually went back and watched the whole game. I think that this is probably your best team by far. Like, even last year's team was good. This team, like, pales in comparison to this next team that's coming up. Again, I think you have a whole, like, bench just deep of great talented players. It gives me the vibes of, like, you're a Duke in Kentucky, competing against these guys. I love the way that Chet plays the game. I think Chet... Again, I talked about this before on stream. Chet was a guy that, when he went against IMG, if you're a little bit stronger than him, you can kind of push him a little bit more. And I thought that, the UCLA Bruins didn't do a good job of that. And they, I just think that it was like I think it was like slim pickings. I think with the way that Chet was able to operate. Shout out to, as much as I don't like Drew Timme, I will say that Drew Timme does a lot of great things for your basketball team that go unnoticed. Like, there was a drive where I believe Chet blocked a shot, drove all the way, kind of went coast to coast, and Drew Timme did a seal out on that guy, on his man, so that way Chet had an operation room to go and dunk that ball and basically just have a free open lane, just due to the fact that Drew Timme is just creating that space for Chet to go and dunk the ball. I think Gonzaga this year is going to be a really dominant team. It's just, to me, defensively, I want to see I think that's kind of what you were missing last year, Sean, was a defensive presence, and that's what I think Chet Holmgren can give you. And I'm excited for this matchup. This is probably the most excited, and I think in a long time, that any basketball fan, whether it's college, G League, or NBA, has been a part of, because both of the players that are involved in this game, there is something on the line, like, immediately. It's not one of those, like, oh, you have a player that, is like the number 12 guy, in the country. This is number 1 versus number 2, in my opinion. And we're going to find out who number 1 is. I think this is going to be the first signal for who the number 1 guy in the country is going to be. Both of these players are absolutely phenomenal. And again, we're going to talk a little bit. I want to watch a little bit of the highlights from Chet Holmgren and Paolo. Again, Paolo is a player that I could, is stronger, going to be a little bit quicker to go and attack the lane. And I just feel like his game is going to translate very well to the NBA, but also Chet Holmgren's game. I feel like you can't go wrong with either player when it comes to draft picks. I think Chet is still a little bit of I wouldn't say project, but I think there is some stuff that you can work on with Chet, and I think that he has like tremendous room to grow. Whereas, like, I feel like Paulo's like here, and I think he can go up. It just depends on like how much a team can maximize his potential depending on what team he goes to. So again, I kind of want to watch a little bit of Chet Holmgren highlights. I was watching a little bit before I watched the stream. Of course, this is number, and I'm gonna mute the audio so we don't get copyright stricken. Again, good block there, chase down. Still needs to work on his balance a little bit more. I know that this is not centered, and I'm trying not to get in trouble here with it. But again, this is the play I'm talking about, Sean, I believe. This is the one where Drew Timme seals Jaime Jaquez and just basically gets a free open dunk. Like, that, to me, those are little things that make Gonzaga really good. As much as I dislike Mark Few and kind of what he did, and, Drew Timme with his mustache thing, you can't hate on this team for the way that they play. Again, good ghosting on the screen. Now you're getting a post-up on Jaime. Again, good rip through, patience. As a guy like that, to me, that's the move right there. Where it's like he had the patience to, see if something was open on that side. So he's looking, like, the thing I like is that he's looking for his teammates first, and then he's going to go up with the shot. Like, he looks, doesn't see anything, gets himself on balance again, and then goes up with the shot. Like, that to me is what I love to see with basketball players, is having that patience and that, presence to be like, I'm not just going to go up with it. I'm not just going to, force the pass. I'm going to assess my options, see what I have, and then do something with it. And that's the thing that I think a lot of that goes unnoticed in basketball games, and just kind of what is missing from the generation that's coming up. And not just NCAA players, but also like just regular high school players. Like, that's what's really missing. Again, great seal on the man. That was probably a bad switch. Again, let's look at that again. This is just like, I think this is just poor defense, because now you basically screwed Johnny here. Now Johnny has to guard Chet, and this is just a mismatch all day. Like, that's going to be a mismatch anytime, any place. Like, I'm not sure what should have happened on here. Like, okay, you trap, and I think this guy, I'm not sure if my mouse can show, but the guy that's guarding Drew Timme, I can't remember his number, but this guy that's kind of closer to the basket, I think has to absorb Drew Timme, and I think you just have to kind of make a switch, right? And you have to have Johnny go out here, have Jaime kind of stay with his man here, and I think you just... let's see here. I'm trying to think of like what would be a more accurate term. So this guy that's down here has to pick up, I think he has to pick up Chet so he doesn't do a post up and get that mismatch. Then you kind of have, either Hami kind of go and find another man to guard, because now this side is the strong side. Whatever ball side, because obviously the court you can split it in two. On this right hand side, this is now the strong side. He's got to stay with this man in the corner, right? So he doesn't, do a drive. I think Hami or Johnny. I think Hami has to he needs to show first. He needs to show and then have Johnny pick this guy up. This guy that's guarding or that's right next to Chet has to go pick up that guy at the 3-point line, and then Hami just kind of has to go chase Drew Timmy and kind of create that movement. I just feel like that would have been a little bit better on that action, because now it's like Johnny Juzang now has to guard Chet Holmgren, and that's a mismatch all day, every day, and that's just an easy bucket. That's just easy. And I'm glad that the Gonzaga Bulldogs were able to see that type of action. And again, we're probably going to see a block here, just due to the fact that this is just they won by 20 something, if I remember right. I can't remember what they won by. Again, I mean, they obviously didn't get I think Chet's too big that he can get away. You can get away with that. He can give him an extra step. Again, great hold there. Don't try to force it, put it on the ground. Again, Gonzaga's just a different team this year. I feel like they're deep 1 through 12. Again, I just don't think that you can kind of bully Chet that much. You're gonna get blocked. It's not gonna be one of those situations where it's like, oh yeah, I can just bully Chet to do whatever I want. You're gonna get in trouble. I know he fouled there, but again, it was still great defense. Again, the one thing I would like for Chet to not do is just have that extra hand on there, down low, because they're gonna call that every time. But he's so versatile. I really think that he's gonna do really well in the league. I think he just needs to work a little bit more on his balance. I still think that there's some off balance stuff that he can work on, but that is definitely a great deal. Adding a shot blocker definitely adds a little bit more to your game. Adds a little bit more to your defense. Again, I just don't think that the Gonzaga Bulldogs had last year, which I think was another problem, is that there was no intimidator at the paint. Again, that was crazy. I'm not sure where there was no foul there, but again, it was a good block by Chet. I don't think there was a foul on Chet, but again, the fact that there's a mismatch there from Johnny to guard Chet, that should never I don't know what the coaching. I need to be what's inside in the heads of the coaching staff, because I'm not leaving Johnny on Chet. He is. I feel like Chet's way too good and will take care of that mismatch. Sean, I'm not sure if you're still with me, man, but I know I'm talking a lot of coaching terms, but it's just too big of a mismatch. I'm not sure why UCLA, again, just rewatching the highlights and rewatching the game, I can't believe that they let Johnny take some of those offensive possessions. Again, great block. Great time. I mean, the thing is the one thing that you're gonna be for certain when it comes to Chet Holmgren is that he's gonna be a shot blocker and a defensive threat in the NBA right out the gate. If you're looking for a guy that's gonna be a defensive stopper, if I'm the Boston Celtics, I'm kind of looking at that guy to see if we can get something for him. But obviously the Celtics need to lose a lot more to get in the lottery pick to get Chet Holmgren. But at the end of the day, I do think that this, to me, when I watch Chet Holmgren play, this to me is going to translate so well in the NBA. Even if his offensive game doesn't develop in the way that you would like it to, in terms of being the sort of I can go to the post and do a little shimmy-ya to go and finish, or to kind of do all these other things. I really do like. Sorry, as I kind of drink my water. Not talking about Paolo and Chet, gets me worked up. I need some water sometimes. But again, I think defensively, Chet's gonna stand out in the NBA. I don't have any issues with him in the NBA. I think he's gonna do a really good job, and stuff like that. So again, I really do like that. Zag's ball screen game is so good that we can force switches. Few has that unlock. Yeah, man. Like I said, I think this is probably your deepest team, Sean, in ages. I do think that this team is way better than last year's by far. I think Nolan Hickman, again, a freshman, played at Eastside Catholic. He, before he went to Utah, I think to just kind of play a season. He's good, man. Like I feel like he's gonna be so good. Well, whether he goes to the league or whether he plays another year for Gonzaga, he's gonna be good wherever he goes, man. I like his game. I watched him again in the Metro League here in Seattle. He'll be good. I have no doubt about Nolan Hickman, a Seattle kid. He's gonna be good. Any Seattle kid, I trust. I trust the Seattle kids. And that goes for the next guy that we'll talk about with Paolo. I really trust him to be a really good player in this league. Again, Chet. I like the game, man. I know that this is like a situation where like people are gonna be like, well, he's too skinny. Like, will he be really able to do it? But man, he like the shot timing there, man. Like that's something that you can't really teach. That's instinct. That's stuff that like you can't teach anybody to do. Like it's just kind of naturally happens. And again, it was great there. He kind of stole the ball from Hami. I'm not sure what happened there. He fell. And that guy got fouled. That guy kind of gave up on the play. What did he do there? That was just dumb. Again, foul. Little hip check to Chet. Gonna make his free throws. I see him being a proverbial all-NBA player. Like, he's just that good. Defensive player of the year for sure. Like, he has that ability to be that guy. Again, creating that space. Creating that space for the guy to make a drive. And again, open at the top if, the guy gets stuck down there. And that's just an easy bucket. And again, this is like a minute 45. Can shoot the three, can stretch the floor. I mean, like, this guy's a complete package. And again, I am excited to see his future in the league. I think he's a one and done, in my opinion. I know that this may upset some Gonzaga fans or make them, a little bit sad to know that he is a one and done. But at the same time, I think he's that good. He is that good of a player, man. So, again, I like his game. I think he's going to be a good player, and I'm curious to see what you guys think. What do you think of Nembhard at point guard? I think he's the best point guard in the country. You should pull up his highlights. I'll put it up after we talk about Paolo a little bit, Sean. I do like Nembhard, and I'm going to probably do a well, I guess this is a Gonzaga Duke preview, right? So we'll talk about Nembhard as soon as I'm done talking about Paolo, because I feel like Paolo again is going to be another animal, and I'm curious to see like how Paolo versus Chet's going to be, if they're going to cover each other, or is it going to be Paolo playing the four, and kind of like kind of what's going to go on there. So again, this is Paolo versus Citadel. Again, they played. Not a very good team here. But again, I do think that Paolo just has the stroke already. Like everything is there, man. And he's got the body for it. Like you can tell that he's gonna be a good player in the NBA. Like you can tell with the way that he is taking over the games. Obviously, first two games were amazing. The last two weren't as good. But again, he adds a different dynamic to this Duke team. I haven't really watched anybody besides him on this Duke team. This is Coach K's last year, so I'm curious to see what's going to go on with that. Again, those hustle plays, man, like this is something that I think a lot of kids now are missing. Like Paolo is that dude. Like he's going to be the guy that, like, if something happens on the ground, he's going to go get it. He's going to do something with it, and I'm excited. Again, I think he's got a great NBA future ahead of him. Again, another one and done type of player. Hustler, rebounder, like he's gonna go get the ball. Like whether he makes it or misses, he's gonna go up, he's gonna shoot it, and he's gonna be a guy that has that, like, I think at the end of the day he is probably a more athletic version of what Julius Randle was. Like I think Julius Randle was a really good player, but I think Paolo is like that times two. Like, and this is just my initial reaction watching Paolo play the game. Good passing there from the big man. Something that you don't normally see from them. Sometimes when it comes to big men, they can be black holes where it's like as soon as the ball goes down low, no one else is touching the ball unless it's like very obvious. And again, great defense there, forcing a bad shot. Paolo, again, great player. And I really do like what I'm seeing from both of these guys. It's going to be a fun season to watch these guys. Hopefully they meet up in the championship game. It'd be awesome to see it. Again, Paulo's got that mid-range game. Like, that's something that a lot of kids don't really know anymore. It's not really something that is taught, but you're seeing like the greatness of just like having that mid-range is just helpful. So that way, when you do get that sort of pick and roll situation where they trap, then you can have Paolo kind of like, slip that screen a little bit, kind of be kind of like a short roll a little bit where it's like you come, you set the screen. If they're trapping, Paolo can kind of slip that a little bit, kind of stay in that mid-range area, pick the ball, turn, face, and shoot that jump shot. Like that. That's how good I think he can be. And again, that's just great passing vision. I know he played quarterback at O'Day, and that's probably where this passing is coming from and why he's such a good passer. Again, I know this is Citadel. I know this isn't like what Gonzaga faced against UCLA. But again, it kind of goes to show you that like scoring this many points, even in college, like no matter what it is still a good thing. Again, the jump shot looks so much better than it did in high school and kind of like that early like pre-college stuff. Like it looks pretty good. I'm not sure, I need to look at the numbers to kind of confirm some things just to make sure that like the numbers are backing up what I'm seeing from the jump shot. Again, great use of the screen, and he's so athletic that he's just going to go up and finish that ball and finish that. I mean, he's going to be a good player, man. I know he had the stuff earlier with Coach K's son. I'm hoping that's kind of behind him and he can kind of focus on his game because, man, like I said, he's a good player, man. You can't hate on him. I know that, a lot of Gonzaga guys are going to be like, I think Chet's better and stuff like that, but both these guys are going to be so good, man. It seems like Duke is already getting some really good guys for next year. It kind of goes to show you kind of the Duke name is still there, even with Coach K not there. Again, great dunk right there. Oh, hang on. I think I paused it. Again, that guy tried to like pull the chair, try to draw the charge. That guy was flopping. He's not going to get that call. It's going to be a bad day if you're going to go against Paolo. I'll tell you that much. Again, like has good passing vision. Like that's the one thing that I think a lot of people aren't thinking about when it comes to Paolo. He can be that. Honestly, I think he could be like similar to like a Giannis or any of those type of guys that like bring up the ball. Like I know Giannis is just like a specimen. Like he just like, there's no one else like Giannis where he's like, 6'11" with some handles. Like I think Paolo can be that kind of point forward where he's just like he can bring up the rock, and pass the ball, but he can also be the guy that you can set stuff for. Like he has that versatility in his game, and that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize when it comes to a guy like Paolo. And we'll watch some Andrew Nemhard highlights just to kind of see. I know Sean is talking about. We can kind of like talk about he drops 24 on UCLA. We'll talk about him in a second. But before we do, again, Paolo is the real deal, man. I am so excited for the game on Friday, 7:30 Eastern. Again, I'm not paid by any of the schools. I'm not even paid by ESPN. But I think it's going to be such an awesome game, and I'm curious to see how Coach K is going to coach against Chet and what the strategy is going to be for him. Like, what are they going to do with him on ball screens? What are they going to do with him? When it comes to like to get him away from the rim, right? Because the way that you want to do it is you want to have your big man up top and try to run some offense so that way Chet's not down below, with the shot blocking. Like some people, they kind of coach and they don't know how to coach like getting that big man out of there, which is like a huge beneficiary for Gonzaga to have Chet down low. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do. Like, for example, like, are they going to have Paolo on Chet, and is Chet going to guard Paolo? And is, since Paolo is such a stretch out guy, like you can stretch him out to the outside 3-point arc. Like, what are they going to do with him in that aspect? So I'm going to be curious to see what they're going to do, but I am excited for this game. And the last thing we'll do here before we kind of sign out is watch the Andrew Nemhard highlights. I know that this is the same game. We're going to watch him kind of take over. Again, Sean, I don't know if you're still with me here, but do you think that Nemhard is better than Jalen Suggs, or do you think that Jalen Suggs is still a better point guard than Nemhard? I know Nemhard has been here for a minute. The jump shot scares me a little bit with the low release. And again, I'll have to watch the highlights here. Again, great rebound. Good find. Corner, classic, just drive and kick to the corner. Boom. Again, Nemhard with great defense. Good finishing, great speed to go and finish over that guy. It's awesome to see, man. Like I said, this Gonzaga team is a lot deeper than last year. I think it's a lot better than last year's team, like by far. Again, finds the open guy. Boom. Oh, that was my neck. So again, I'm excited to see what's going on for this. Nemhard is more of a pure point guard than Suggs. Suggs' potential is way higher and can play off ball. That's true. Nemhard, maybe he's more of a traditional, like, I'm gonna get my guys, the looks first, and then I'll take the shot. Again, I just want to look back at this shot and just kind of let's slow this shot down a little bit. Best handles and passing in the country. He's a good player, man. I won't disagree with you there. I think he's a really good player. So I want to slow down this the speed here and kind of show you what I'm talking about. Let's just kind of show you the release point. If you guys can look at the release point when he releases the ball. I'm going to pause it when he's ready to take a shot. Right there. That to me is a concern, Sean. If Nemhard's going to go to the NBA and play at that level, I think anything below the eye level is a little concerning to me, because you want the shot to be like above the eyebrow a little bit. Like you want like the release point to be here rather than like right here. Because again, if you're shooting it from like right here, it's going to get blocked every single time in the NBA. Like I don't care, especially at his size, it's not really a good set point to have. Like you want it to be just above, again, above your eyebrow. Like that's where you want, like, to me, like obviously never shot like, shot in high school as a player, but never was a guy that was like, college or NBA. But, from all the years of studying the game and kind of forming my own opinion and learning from guys like Mike Denham, and other guys in the basketball atmosphere, the shooting guru and all these other kind of shooting coaches, and even some coaches that that I currently coach with, and getting their opinions, and also some former alum from the high school that I coach. Like, again, you don't want the release point to be this low. You want to, like, again, it has to be like at least here, because the problem is, again, if you shoot it from here, it's gonna get blocked every single time. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. And I know he does have the separation and the handles, but in order to move to that next level, Sean, the set shot has to be a little bit higher. Like, I would just have it here to get ready to go. That is just my opinion. Again, Nemhard's going to do him. Obviously he trusts the guy that he works with. He trusts his jump shot. So again, obviously in college it'll work. Obviously you're more athletic than some of these other guys. There's still that separation of athletes. So again, great point guard vision. Obviously, two guys there. Not sure if that was the right play call, but it was still, that play was run the right way. Can't tell. Was that travel? It might have been. I think that was okay. Again, really patient. Obviously has a great finish at the rim. Um, but I do like the fact that he looks for his teammates first before he gets his. Like that to me is like huge for a point guard to have that. And again, great handles. Is someone that you can trust in the backcourt to, like, if they're playing man to man, press coverage where like you're getting picked up at full court. Like if everyone clears out the way, Nemhard's going to be able to dribble out of that and get the offense going. Again, I love this Gonzaga Bulldogs team. Like I've never liked, like last year's team I liked just because I like Jalen Suggs. Obviously, right now struggling in the NBA, but I still think he's got the ability to do it. I really do like this Gonzaga team, Sean. Like I know, I troll you guys a lot when it comes to Gonzaga. But I like this team, man. I think this team is going to be a really good team. I think you're going to see a lot of great things from this Gonzaga team. I think again, what you were missing was that like shot blocker, someone that can command the paint. So that way, you can do a lot of different things on the defensive end for switching and ball screen defense, and you don't have to necessarily like, especially if you're gonna have Chet in the help side in the hole, like you're 2 or 3 passes away, he's probably going to be under the rim, probably a little bit closer to kind of affect the shot. Where like his man is probably, depending on who they are, like if they're a stretch big, maybe that helps a little bit. So now it's like he can stretch out a little bit. But Chet is just is a glitch at this point, with the guy that's got like a 7 something, like maybe an 8 foot wingspan. Like I can't remember how tall his wingspan is, but still a very good player and has the ability to recover quickly, no matter if the guy is at the rim or whether it's his man closing out on the opposite corner. Like he's going to be able to recover so quickly with his size and length that I think that you want to keep him down low. And I really do think that was kind of an issue last year, especially, with Drew Timme being more of an offensive minded player. Last year, I can't remember who I think it was Drew Timme that you ran at the center, but if you have Drew Timme at the 4, I feel like that's a little bit better than like having him at the 5 and not having Chet Holmgren kind of be your defensive anchor. Whereas like last year, I didn't know who your defensive stopper was. Like I know Jalen Suggs is a great on-ball defender, but you really do need that rim protector because he adds such a different dynamic to the game that a lot of people don't realize how impactful that is. I know he's 7 foot tall, and you could say, oh well, he's 7 foot, of course, but it really does help. You could be 7 foot, but not really good on defense. Like Chet is an elite NBA already level defender at his young age. And, with his size and length, I know it's easy to say like, oh, well, he should be, but it's really hard. And, like I said, some big men are blessed with it. Some people aren't. Again, this is going to be a matchup, number 1 versus number 2. And I'm excited to see which player is going to come up on top. Is it going to be Paolo Banchero or is it going to be Chet Holmgren? Both guys coming from the Washington area. Obviously, Chet more so from the Minnesota area, and Paolo coming from the O'Day. So I'm always going to root for my Seattle guys, just because I'm a big Seattle head. I love Seattle basketball. There's a rich culture and history of Seattle basketball that I think a lot of people don't realize. I know I'm not sure if you realize it, Sean, but man, it's some great culture of basketball here, man. Like there's so many good players that have come through this area. And I think it's probably one of the best areas for basketball. I know that California has a lot of guys, New York has a lot of people, but I think no one beats Seattle basketball because of the way that it's ran, because of the style of play, and just the culture and history of really the Metro League and those Metro teams. Peyton Siva, a great guard from here. Kevin Porter Jr., amazing talent. And many other guys, Jamal Crawford obviously being, I believe, kind of the OG, obviously like the OG of my time, right? There was probably a lot of people back then that were more OG, but again, I'm excited for this Duke versus Gonzaga game. It's going to be a fun watch, and I hope you guys are tuned in and ready to go watching the Duke Blue Devils take on the Gonzaga Bulldogs. It is going to be tons of fun. Hopefully you guys are watching. Get your popcorn ready. If you're watching it with friends, be responsible. And just enjoy an amazing game, man. It's going to be one of those games where you're looking at it and you're going to be excited for what's going to be going on for the foreseeable game on November 26th at 7:30 p.m. Number 1 Gonzaga versus, I'm not sure if they're number 3 or number 4, but it's going to be a fun game. And let's look at the betting line. I'm not sure if there's anything. They have Gonzaga winning this 70%. Again, Paolo averaging 17 a game, 54% from the field, 85% from 3-point land. From the 85. I mean, shooting 85, shoot, man, he's going to be a really good player in the league. But 85 from the free throw line. Paolo with 8 rebounds a game, which is awesome. Wendell Moore with 5.7 assists a game. So you know that he's going to be a guy that is definitely going to make a huge impact. Drew Timme leading the way in offense with almost 18 or almost 20 a game, shooting 69.4%. So he's someone that we should look at and see what, if that makes a huge impact on the floor. Chet going to get you 6.7 rebounds a game. Meanwhile, Nembhard is going to get you 5 assists. So again, I'm excited to see it. Both teams are on a 6-game win streak. One of these win streaks is going to come to an end. Field goal percentage, advantage Gonzaga. Rebound percentage, advantage Duke, actually. And then Gonzaga, obviously, with the assists, blocks, and Duke with the steals in that category. So, again, this is going to be a fun game. I'm excited to watch this game. Hopefully, you guys are. And, Sean, hopefully you kind of get my analysis on this. If I had to pick who's going to win, so it's number 1 versus number 5, I'm going to go with the Gonzaga Bulldogs. As much as I'm a Paolo Banchero type of player or type of guy, like I like his game. I think that he's going to be a really solid NBA player. I have the Gonzaga Bulldogs, man. They need to. I think this is I would say that this is a must-win game, and it's a statement game for their season, for the postseason tournament. Like, if Gonzaga can really get this win, I really think it's going to show everyone like they are the top dogs. No pun intended for their Bulldog name. Like, they're going to be the top dogs, and they're going to be the number 1 team. And I really do think, like, if they win this game, I really think it's a momentum carrier for the tournament. As early as it is in the season, I know you could say, like, oh, well, it's early. You know, both teams are going to kind of, like, find out who they are, going to find out, like, what offense works. You know, what stuff works for them. I really do think when I watch both of these teams, I think this is a momentum builder. I think this is a momentum builder for Duke and Coach K if they win this game, because I think it's a game that you can say, like, well, we battled basically the number 1 team, I feel like, in the nation, you know, with the number 1 recruiting class and all this other stuff. Like, when I see that, like, that could be a you know, an inspirational thing for Duke, being like, yeah, we beat those guys. Now we can do anything we want in the tournament. Whereas Gonzaga, if they win this game, now it's like, okay, now we're unstoppable. Now we actually have the ability to actually do something. And it's like, okay, we've beaten everybody. You know, we beat a Texas team. We beat a Blue Devils team with arguably the number 1 or number 2 draft pick in the NBA. Like, it's going to add a lot of dynamic for this Gonzaga team, and I'm excited to watch this game. So hopefully you guys are as well. And please remember to leave that like, share, and subscribe. And like, hit that like, hit the share, and also hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Again, the more likes, the more subscribers, the more the channel can grow, and I can finally start putting out some new content in terms of merchandise and stuff like that. I want to do that for you guys. I also want to do a giveaway at 1,000 subscribers. So get us to 1,000 subscribers, and we'll definitely do that giveaway 100%. But with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoy your pre-Thanksgiving Eve. Hopefully you guys are chilling. Hopefully you guys are resting and relaxing. I do appreciate each and every one of you that tuned into the charge tonight. I know that this wasn't like the longest, as many topics as you would like, but I do think that it was some important topics to talk about, especially when it came to this Duke versus Gonzaga team. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a great game, and man, we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be a fun and interesting game to kind of continue to watch and monitor and see who is really going to take the top spot. Is it going to be the Gonzaga Bulldogs, or is it going to be the Duke Blue Devils? Let me know in the comment section down below. We also talked about the Stephen A. Smith stuff. Again, I think he's full of it. I think that this is, again, a media-driven thing. And, I think that this is going to cause some frustration in the league. But with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. Again, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new. Remember, the more likes, the more subscribers, the more that we can get stuff going for the channel, and I want to get stuff going ASAP. Again, there's shirts, there's mugs, there's sweatshirts, whatever you can find, whatever you're into, let me know, and I will make sure that this stuff is there for you and available so you can enjoy wearing this merch or whatever it is that you decide to do for the channel. Anyway, guys, like I said, hit that like, share, and subscribe. And again, there's a donation link as well if you'd like to donate to the channel and get stuff going for us. But like I said, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode.